The moment is here, you can stop your search. It's Comics by Perch.
Hey everybody, this is Perch. Have comics gotten better, gotten worse? But what time span are we talking about? Are we talking about better since the 60s, better since the 80s, the 90s, better since 2016? Like what is the time frame that we're discussing here? I think that's important. I mean, the one thing that I think is I don't know, true for me, maybe this speaks to you as well, is that, when I loved comics the most, when I had the most enjoyment reading comics and everything else, and I still enjoy comics. This is what separates me from, some of the people who have completely blackpilled on the entire industry at this point. I still love comics. There's still comics that I read that I enjoy. Whether they're new issues, whether they're back issues, whatever, I still enjoy what comics are. Now, I grant you, for the big two publishers, there's fewer comics being produced that I truly enjoy than I did, say, 25 years ago from the big two. But there's still things I enjoy. But generally, when we talk about comics are getting better, comics are getting worse, from what time frame? So this viewer attempts to at least throw out that question, and let's see what the viewer essay says. It says, Dear Perch, I recently listened to your video about the intensity in which some people are at war with comics. In the video, the person who wrote you was talking about having no forgiveness in their hearts and wanting to put an end to current comics as an intense hatred. Some examples from your own comments in that video, quote, I will co-sign this letter in agreement on why there is no mercy or forgiveness in my heart for the people who have ruined these comics and attacked the fans, end quote. Another comment in the thread said, if I ever see one of these creators on the side of the road starving, not only will I not stop, I will swerve over and have a little bump on the way home. They have ruined my childhood. I don't think either of these two people, end quote. I don't think either of these two people were being facetious. This is actually how they felt and feel. I admit I'm surprised to see those kinds of reactions. I grant you, several of the creators that I believe people are talking about are complete assholes, and in all fairness, I'd be happy if I never saw or heard from them again. However, and this is a big however. I'm still reading from the mail, by the way. Every now and then people snipe my videos, or they do live streams, so they talk about my videos, and they seem confused as to when I'm reading a mail and when I'm just talking. Here's a big clue. When I'm reading a mail, I'm reading the words funny, like I'm reading. Whereas when I'm just talking, it sounds like I'm just talking. There is a distinct difference. You actually don't have to listen that hard. There's some live stream somebody pointed me to where they're getting really pissed off at me. I was reading this mail, and they're getting pissed off at the mail thinking it was me. And then they had like a 2-minute debate on whether, like, wait a minute, I think that's the mail. And then like, well, he should make it more clear that he's reading a mail. And it's like, okay, you guys are idiots. I'm sorry. Full stop. You're too fucking stupid to be doing this. When I say, here's a mail, and then I start talking in kind of a jarring, stilted way, that's how you know I'm reading a mail. I don't think it's that complicated. I think you might be either, I was going to say intentionally dumb, but I'm just going to go with dumb. Okay? You might be dumb. You might be dumb if, that's a redneck bit. Anyway, back to mail, and I'm not sure where I left off. So here's the problem when I interrupt myself during the mail. Okay, I'm not sure if I'm starting from this bit. Comics are objectively better than they were 8 years ago. I would die on that hill. Right now, I am enjoying several indie comics. I am enjoying Moon Knight from Marvel. I am enjoying several of the Dawn of DC titles. And I'm still enjoying things like Daredevil from the big two. The Superman books are probably the best they have been in the last 8 years. If I think about the Bendis era, and then some of the other comics that were done, while I liked Philip Kennedy Johnson's War World Saga, what Philip Kennedy Johnson is doing right now on Superman is absolutely brilliant. Comics are better than they were 6 years ago. Why is this so hard for people to see? Are they stuck hating the worst parts of 2016 through 2020? That they are not bothering to see some of the good things that have occurred? I think comics have gotten significantly better. What about you? Okay, what about me? Um, well, first off, to the comment section, what about you? Have comics gotten better if we're talking about like 2015, 2018 era to today? I would probably say they are better. I would. And yet here's where I'm coming from, and I'm curious to hear your logic. So when you answer this question, if you're in the comments, please, please, please avoid the temptation to go, well, I don't know. Don't change the question. The question is specific. From the 2015 to 2018, kind of that era of comics, to today, have things gotten better or worse? It's not fair to go, I don't give a shit about 2015. I'm going to talk about the 90s. No. Answer the question as it is. So here's why I think they've actually gotten better. First off, there is a more robust indie section that you can get a hold of. So there truly are a lot of comics out there for other people in the indie market. I liked a lot of what AWA did. That's me. I've liked a lot. I've liked a lot of indie comics. I think there's more good indie books out there than there used to be. I also think that you have options again around crowdfunding. If there's a particular creator you like, but they've been booted out of the mainstream, then you've got an option to follow them now. You've got a place to go buy that comic, and a lot of that stuff didn't exist certainly in this form. I mean, the method existed, but the fewer people were using it. So I think that there's been a lot of improvements there as well. You have better access to manga than you did. There was quite a bit in 2015, but you got more options. You've got an easier way to get a hold of it if that's what you're into. I understand, comics, manga are those same thing, but regardless, you got all that. And look, there's a handful of Marvel and DC books that I like. I liked Philip Kennedy Johnson's World Saga. No, it's not because I've interviewed him on the show. I like what he's doing with Superman. I actually enjoy those shows. I found some of the backup stories to be horrendous, but I like what he's doing there. I think it's pretty good. I think that there's other books that I've found certainly in both, the big two that I've enjoyed. Now, does that mean there's still some books I don't like out there? Yeah. And if I compare it to kind of, at least in my mind, the quality of comics that were on the shelves in, say, 1988, that era was better. Agreed. But if I'm looking strictly from the perspective, remember 2016, 2017, first of all, you had Marvel doing a lot of bizarre things. You had them completely deprioritizing the X-Men. Now, in hindsight, maybe that's better fate than what they have to deal with now. But you had Marvel just kind of passively ignoring them. You had to do weird stunts like killing Wolverine. You had the horrible Civil War II, followed by the pretty awful Secret Empire. Secret Empire was, you know what? I don't know. Secret Empire, Civil War II. It's kind of like which way do I want to die? That feels like a Saw kind of trap right there, like a torture movie. Which one are you going to kill yourself with? You had them try to push the Inhumans and just failing. You had a lot of really not ready for primetime writers, whether it's Max Bemis or Gabby Rivera or what Cena Grace was doing. You had just a lot of titles that were junk. I would argue that subjectively, things are better now than they were. I think that it's easier to kind of find what you want to find. And I think it's a little bit easier to ignore what you thoroughly despise. That's kind of where I'd land with it. Still lots of problems. I think, again, X-Men line is a mess. DC at times seems confused. Too much Fat Family reliance by a mile. I don't know. This would be a great debate I'd like to have, because I don't feel like it's close. I don't feel like it's a huge distance. I feel like things are marginally better than they were in 2016. I don't think it's hugely better, but I think it's marginally better. But this is a question to you. What do you think? Have things gotten better? As to the rest of the mail, look, I've said before, and I don't want to go down the path again. I don't agree or get the, you know, you must, the comics people must die because I don't like their comics anymore. And that's not hyperbole. Some people are actually saying it. There were some comments that landed in the held restricted area, and yeah, sure, I don't know what's in people's heart. Maybe they're just trolling. Maybe they're just being silly. It's true, but there are people who wrote, these people for what they have done to me deserve to, starve in pain. I mean, that hopefully, I'm not saying you have to be a saint and say, I turned my cheek. These are still my brothers and friends. No, you can just kind of ignore the people. You can dislike what they've done. But there's a gap between I don't like what this person has done. I don't want to see them work in comics. To I would like them to die on the side of the road. What it was a comment like, I will run them over with my car. Like that is a different level, and I would hope most people would get that. Again, maybe they're all trolling. Sure, it's always easy when somebody is vaguely kind of on your side of the fence to say, well, that's just a joke. Clearly, that's just a joke. A lot of comic pros do that, by the way. When you see some of these comments that I think completely are over the line, nasty comments, they will say things like, well, that creator's just blowing out steam. It's just a joke. They don't really mean that. They don't really mean that they want this person to be arrested as a Nazi. They don't mean it. Again, I don't know their heart. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. One thing I do know is that whether it's a joke or not, they shouldn't write it. I think, I think that's fair game. Put it this way. If we were ever to live in a world where, there's like a big treaty that existed and the comic pro said, we will not call people Nazis and try and get them fired from their jobs and go at them and all that kind of, we won't do that. And in return, the fans will not write things like, I would like to murder people on the side of the road with my car. We'd all take that deal, right? You would take that deal. I would hope. But anyway, here we are. It's another day. Comics. Have they gotten better in recent years? Or have they gotten worse? Again, make your point. I'm not gonna sit here and argue with you because again, I think it's close. I think it's my argument is it's gotten a little bit better. It's improved. I'm just repeating myself at this point. I don't think it's massively better. I think it's gotten a little bit better. What say you? Let me know in the comments below. Like and subscribe, of course, and thanks for listening.